Welcome to a breaking news edition of Crime News. This is Mark Solomon, and it is September 15, 2021. I had been working on a video on the Lori Vallow case on whether or not she can fake competency or not. And yet, 2 hours ago, I see that Alex Murdaugh has been implicated in his own shooting. Stay tuned. But before we get to that, don't forget to click like and subscribe with a little bell next to it to be notified of future videos. Let's just get to it. So, literally 2 hours ago, Alex Murdaugh has been implicated in his own shooting. Earlier this week, I did a video where we talked about how he was supposed to have been shot in the head. There were conflicting reports. His attorney had said that he had been injured. The police reports say that there were no injuries detected. And now, just 2 hours ago, all of the news is talking about how his attorney is speaking out again, saying that he had clearly known what he had done was wrong. All the news, Fox News, CNN, NBC, they are all talking about how he hired a man to kill him. And clearly the man botched the job. And here's a good example. In this New York Post article, a former client charged with shooting Alex Murdaugh in his own insurance scam, they talk about how he had hired this man for the purposes of killing him while changing the tire. Apparently had given him the information of where he was going to be, make it look like a drive-by shooting or something like that, so his children could get $10 million of insurance. $10 million of insurance is going to implicate him in more than just some sort of conspiracy charge on the shooting, which I guarantee that's one of the things Colorado prosecutors are going to be looking to do. The other thing that I first thought of is, can he be implicated in a conspiracy to commit a first-degree murder? Because the man he hired, I know they're calling it an assisted suicide, but the man he hired is almost certainly going to be charged with attempted first-degree murder. It is pre-planned, premeditated. Let's take a look at the statute of murder in South Carolina. They literally define murder as the killing of any person with malice aforethought, either express or implied. Well, gosh darn it, that's pretty open-ended. And then there's punishment for murder, which talks about anybody who pleads guilty must be punishable by death or mandatory minimum term of imprisonment for 30 years to life. And it does not talk about the killing of another person. Let's compare that really quickly to the Colorado statute, which ironically enough, has been updated and is effective as of 9/15. That's today. And it defines murder here in Colorado as a person committing murder in the first degree if, after deliberation and with the intent to cause the death of another person other than himself. And here is where Colorado is a little bit more sophisticated in the law, because this just defines murder in South Carolina as just the killing of a person. Doesn't mean that it has to be somebody else. I think the reasoning behind the statute here in Colorado is they wanted to make sure you couldn't be charged with first-degree murder or attempted first-degree murder with a suicide. Interestingly enough, that's now the case in Alex Murdaugh in South Carolina. So the next thing I thought of, well, what else could he be charged with? And the most obvious thing, now I'm talking Alex Murdaugh, not the person he hired to kill him, not the person he hired to kill himself. But when we talk about the insurance motive of $10 million, that is potentially insurance fraud. So let's take a look at what the attorney has said in his place. The man allegedly hired by a disgraced lawyer in a bizarre scheme to leave his son with insurance and is a suspected drug dealer. That's Curtis Smith. He was charged after confessing about the arranged shooting. Smith was a former client, once powerful lawyer, represented him a speeding case in 2013, as well as a personal injury case. And interestingly enough, along with a slew of charges for assisted suicide and insurance fraud, Smith was also charged with distribution with methamphetamine and possession of marijuana. So, my suspicions, there they are, and it's not immediately, here I'm reading again, it's not immediately clear if the charges were connected to Murdaugh, who announced that he had checked into rehab after becoming addicted to drugs. But here we go. This is Curtis Smith. This is the guy who is now charged with all of those things because Alex Murdaugh hired him to do at least some of them, allegedly. The next thing is really interesting is that his attorney said to NBC's Today Show that his client was trying to get off opiates, was taking to get over the death of his son and wife when he became depressed, believing his insurance policy had a suicide clause. He enlisted a man to kill him during a fake car breakdown, according to the attorney. And the man was an attempt on his part to do something to protect his child. I don't know what to say about that. I do believe that sometimes when people are facing a dire situation or desperate times, they come up with desperate solutions. This is clearly one of those times. This is one of those acts, and this is one of those decisions. But that's what I've got for you today. I'm literally here home from court during lunch. I was called into court all day long. So I am working on that video for Lori Vallow for tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday at the latest. That's what I've got for you today. If you've got any thoughts, feelings, comments about this remarkable turn of events, I'd love to hear them. Put them in the comments below. And until then, thank you so much for watching.